Hello everyone, this is Pal Ponder on Weather coming at you with another video. In this update, we're going to be talking about a major snowstorm for Tuesday and Wednesday, and then a second storm develops a little bit further south for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day with a snow and ice storm. So before I do get started, if you do like weather related content, please subscribe to my channel, as I will do daily updates to keep you ahead of the storm. And I do ask you to share this video with your friends and family on social media. All right, so let's get started. Here is the latest 500 millibar pattern. We can see this developing storm that's going to be taking shape off the coast of California. This is on Monday, the 28th, tomorrow. So as this progresses eastward, look at the vorticities. It starts to kind of really get its act together. You can see this deepening upper level low pressure developing off the southwest coast of California. This will progress eastward and develop the major snowstorm that we're going to be talking about for Tuesday and Wednesday. And this is as of Tuesday morning. So as we extend the view on the surface map, you can kind of see that first initial snow kind of breaking out over portions of South Dakota, getting into Nebraska, portions of Kansas, as well on the backside of Colorado. We'll be seeing more snow for places in the upper mountains and as well as Denver. And this will kind of progress eastward and really start to get its act together as it starts to draw down that colder air and really start to get some heavier snow amounts taking shape over Iowa with 1 to 2 inch per hour snowfall rates by that time, with these darkening blues as we extend into southern Minnesota and portions of the Dakotas. And then on the tailing end, we'll have that transition to a little bit of ice. And then we'll have that rain setting up on the south over Texas, getting into Oklahoma and Kansas and portions of Missouri. And this is the first initial storm. So now let's take a look at the vorticity index by the 30th on Wednesday. It's almost like a three-stacked approach. There's circulation up top, and then we have another circulation over Colorado. And then yet we have a third circulation starting to develop on the southwest side of drawing in off the coast of the Baja, of another surface feature developing. Now, we talked about yesterday the negative NAO developing, starting to create this more blocking features and having the systems a little bit less progressive as they move from west to east. And you're kind of seeing that kind of play out. And as this blocking starts to take shape, it actually lags behind and creates a second storm down south. And this is a big change than what we talked about yesterday. The first initial storm looks to progress from west to east, but then we possibly have a second storm that's developing, that's lagging behind, that will create a little bit a snow and ice storm a little bit further south than what we talked about yesterday. So let's kind of take you through. Here's that first initial storm that's kind of moving through on Wednesday. It'll dump a lot of snow for the Dakotas, getting into Iowa, portions of Minnesota, getting into Wisconsin. I do expect this to be a pretty significant event for you guys with some double-digit totals, especially as we get into extreme portions of Illinois. But we'll have, like I said, a second system that's developing. You can see the surface low already looking to take shape by the 30th. This is the 30th morning with the rain on the south side. But as this low progresses eastward, it'll draw in more colder air and develop its own colder core. And you can see by the New Year's Eve morning, that vorticity digs all the way down to the deep south portions of Texas. This will draw in, kind of get its act together. There's a lot of warm waters down by here by the Gulf. And so as this progresses eastward, it'll tap into some of those warm waters, draw in some of that colder air, and start to deepen this area of low pressure, creating the second storm that we're going to talk about right now. And so, but you can see by New Year's Eve morning, that colder air starts pushing further south, and you can see the below freezing temperatures extend all the way to the portions of the panhandle of Texas, a good chunk of Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois. So whatever precipitation that's left at this time will fall as snow or ice. But we have a second system that's going to be developing on the south side. So you can see on the surface map by New Year's Eve morning, we have that second low developing off the south coast by Houston, developing rain on the south side. But we're starting to see a little bit of a transition as that cold air starts to keep pushing further south, and this area of surface low will create its own colder air as well. So as this deepens, it will make the transition of some rain transitioning into snow and potentially ice. So as we kind of walk you through, you can see now it's down to 1,001 millibar, and it kind of starts to make the transition to a little bit more ice event, starting to get into New Year's Eve. But as we progress further in the day, this low pressure starts to get its act together. This is New Year's Day now, and now we see snow breaking out on the backside, and we could have some snow breaking out in Oklahoma and portions of North Texas, getting into eastern parts of Texas. And then as this low now is 997 millibars, it'll actually create a significant, potentially a significant ice event starting to develop in southern Missouri by then, in northern portions of Arkansas. So we'll just have to see how all this plays out. But it definitely looks like there's a secondary low developing as this progresses eastward throughout getting into New Year's Day. So as we go deeper into New Year's Eve, getting into New Year's morning, that area low pressure still hanging around. Now it even deepens further to a 996 millibar. Snow on the backside, still pushing that colder air into Oklahoma and Kansas. But then we could be talking about a pretty significant ice event. I'll show you the different models at the end, but it's starting to look like it appear that as this surface low starts to creep up north, it'll start to lag behind and still taking advantage of that colder air, making that transition. And we could be looking at a significant ice storm in portions of Missouri, get into Illinois, as well as Indiana by then. And then, of course, rain on the south side. But look at the temperatures by New Year's Day morning. And these are all freezing temperatures as the kind of a 1-2 prong approach pulls down that colder air. And you can see the freezing temperatures extend all the way into central Texas. All of Oklahoma's freezing, a good chunk of Missouri is below freezing. So whatever's left, any precipitation that's left would form in these freezing temperatures in the form of ice or snow by then. And then on the southeast side will be mostly rain. But as we kind of walk you through, as on the surface map by you can see where the temperatures were below freezing, and anything that lets over, and we still have a lot of precipitation still around. So that's going to fall in the form of snow and ice, and especially a good chunk of Missouri now looks to be impacted from this second low that's developing for New Year's Eve, getting into New Year's Day, and then we'll transition to a ice event for Illinois and to portions of Indiana, northern Indiana by then, and then this will extend further eastward, getting into Wisconsin and portions of the upper northeast. But then just of course rain on the south side, and then as we get beyond New Year's Day, this will kind of filter itself out, and now it's down to a 995 millibar, and everything pretty much ends. But yeah, let me kind of take you through all the different models. Here's the latest European model. Here's that first prong approach where that snowstorm will set the stage for Tuesday and Wednesday over portions of Nebraska and the Dakotas, especially getting into Iowa, southern Wisconsin, and then into southern Minnesota, and then as well as Wisconsin, as this pushes through to the southeastern parts of Canada as well. And then we see a second tailing end of the backside of it from that second low pressure could bring some snow in portions of North Texas, East Texas, eastern Oklahoma, and then getting into a good chunk of Missouri with that second storm now. And then as it extends, getting into Chicago, I do think you're going to get probably about 8 to 10 inches with all the both systems in places like Chicago. But also another factor would be the ice. So this could be a significant event that potentially is on the table as this second storm kind of wraps into that colder air. So we could be looking at some ice in portions of far North Texas, getting into Oklahoma, and especially in Missouri. We could be dealing with a significant ice storm as well as snow on the north side, and then all of Illinois into Indiana and Ohio, and getting in portions of Pennsylvania and upstate New York. You can see the GFS model is a little bit more progressive. It doesn't have the feel of the negative NAO as much, so it progresses the storm a little bit faster than what the European model is looking at. So it still has the snow breaking out on the south side, but it actually pushes it a little bit further southeast than what the European model has. And then as this will progress further eastward. Now let's take a look at the ice. And so the ice would be the same way. As it progresses a little bit further faster, it has it pushing faster. So that would bring the ice event a little bit further south, getting into Tennessee and portions of Kentucky, in the Ohio Valley as well. But the Canadian model is probably the most bullish model of the three models I'm going to show you. And then it actually lags the system even slower behind, as that second low will extend all the way down into Texas and dump in a good chunk of snow for central and northern Texas, getting into Oklahoma and Missouri and Illinois with that first system into portions of Iowa. Then, of course, the ice would be a little bit more significant as well, as it kind of lags behind. Now, I'm not favoring the Canadian model. I'm kind of favoring a little bit of a blend of all three, kind of this far out, 4 or 5 days out of these two systems. So, but yeah, we could be looking at potentially a significant event with the two major systems that's coming up, with the major snowstorm for Tuesday and Wednesday, and then a second system forming on the backside, on the south side, with a snow and ice event further south and southeast. So I will stay in touch with the latest. I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video. Definitely leave your comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel to catch the latest update where I protect you before and after the storm.